Hope you guys are able to see my screen. Okay. Right. So when we were closing the session yesterday, I was explaining you what is that priority group activation. How many of you could remember that one? What is the benefit of going for priority group activation? What is that priority group? Anybody could explain me so that I'll be able to continue with showing the demonstration on that. Anyone? Mm. Mm. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, okay. Got it. Perfect. But there are certain corrections on that. Let me tell you. So you have a set of servers here, right? Guys, am I audible? Okay, right. So I have a set of servers, right? What I wanted to do is I would like to use a couple of servers as the service has been hosted for distributing the load across them. And one of the server or one of the pool member, I would like to use only as a backup. That means if the servers, according to my expectation, yesterday's explanation was what I would like to have a minimum of two members at any point of time. If I have more than two members, then it is not a problem at all. Still, the load balancing will happen. The distribution is going to be happening across multiple members. But the moment the configured threshold reached, then I will be looking for the backup members which are available to me, and then I will be adding them for active distributing of load. This is what priority group activation. So I told you that the priority group activation is going to be purely working with something called the priority values, which will be assigned to the members. So the priority pool, the priority values are going to be like a numerical value. Higher the value, higher the priority. So depending on the number of minimum number of members, the number of minimum members, the number of members are going to be chosen. I hope you remember that. Let me say like this. See, I have two servers or three servers with the priority group of 5, and I have three more servers with the priority group of 6, and I also have three more servers with the priority group of 7. You can give any values, right? Okay, so that's a different story. My point here is three servers have been associated with the priority group of 5, priority value of 5. Three members have been associated with the priority value of 6, and three of the members have associated with the priority value of 7. Now, which are all the servers are going to be added, or how many servers are going to be used for distributing the load, is purely dependent on the priority group activation button. So when I'm trying to enable the priority group, I have an option to define what less than, and then oh my god, a minute, let me connect to my phone and then. Hope I'm audible now. So none of the sentence you hear. You want me to start from the scratch, or is that okay to continue from here? Oh, okay, okay. Okay, okay, fine then. So there are a couple of servers which have been associated with some specific, what is it called, the priority values, and then this priority group is going to be activated by defining the threshold value less than the number of members at a minimum should be there to distribute the load. If that threshold reached, the FI system is going to be identifying if there is any backup members are available, they can be added as part of what is it called, distributing the load. So when I say two members in this is my example. I say that less than two. That means what? At any point of time, we are willing to have two members at a minimum, so that the load can be distributed. So which two servers are going to be added? So here n is equal to 2 is what I have given. So it's up to you how you wanted to do it. So I have to have minimum two members to actively distribute the load, though I have 9 members here. Which two members are going to be chosen? So whichever the member are having a highest priority value, in this case 7 is being considered as the highest priority value, and I have 3 members over there associated with the priority value of 7. All of them are going to be used for actively distributing the load. Is that clear till this point? Now what happens? Any one of the member fails. Now let's assume that this member got failed. Still the threshold not reached. I said that less than 2. That means as long as you have minimum of 2 members, you no need to look for the backup members. So if I have less than 2 members, only then I have to look for the backup members who can be called for handling the traffic. Now since I have 2 members who are actively handling the traffic, I don't need to worry about it. Assuming that one more member got failed, now the threshold reached, right? Now the threshold reached. So the FI is going to be looking for the backup members. So I have 6 more backup members who will be called the next highest priority, whomever is having. 5 is better or 6 is, 5 is higher or 6 is higher. I'm going to be choosing 6 because that is a higher in value. So this is going to be added into the members for actively distributing the traffic. But the question is, which member is going to be added? Though I said less than is equal to 2. Now in this point, it is not that one of the member will be actively, one of the member is going to be added to actively distribute the traffic, because I have all 3 members who has been associated with the priority of 6. Already I have one member who is in priority number of 7. Put together 4 members will be handling the traffic because the FI is going to be distributing the load to them. So when I say that less than 2, we are giving a condition that at a minimum 2 members should be there to actively handling the traffic. If there are no, if there is, if the condition, if the threshold has been reached, the FI LTM is going to be looking for additional members so that the load can be distributed to them also. Based on what the additional members are going to be chosen based on the priority value. If more than one member has the same priority value, which is going to be considered as a greater priority value, all of the members will be added to handle the traffic. Is that point? Is the point is clear? Okay. Now, yesterday I have shown you how to configure the priority group. Am I right? Let's see that one. Let's go and get into this https://192.168.1.6 admin, and the password I'm giving it to login. Now I'm going to the pool, then pool, I can see the members over here. Also configure the priority groups. Where is the priority? Did I configure the priority? Yes, 5, 6, 7. Then the priority group has been activated, and the condition is what? At any point of time I should have minimum of 2 servers. The moment I go, the availability of members goes less than the configured threshold value, I will start actively looking for the members who can be added into the group for handling the traffic. Now tell me which are all the servers are going to be handling the traffic, assuming that all these servers are up and running. Sorry? Okay, how about 7? Will not be used, huh? Okay, so we need 2 servers. Which are all the 2 servers are going to be used? Under 7 I have only 1, so I need one more. I'm just looking, there are 2 more servers, they are configured with the priority of 5 and 6, so I need one more, so I'm just choosing 6. Under 6 we have one server. What if I add the priority group as 6 for blue web server as well, and both of them will be added? You understand what I'm saying? Now, in the configured, with the configured value, we need to have two members. Which are all the two members will be actively, the load will be sent to is yellow web server and green web server. Let's turn on the client PC and then verify that whether the load is being given only to yellow and green, but not to blue. I think we checked that also, I guess. I'm not sure. They will be handling the traffic. That's it, na? No, no. Right, so I'm just closing this and then trying to open up the browser once again. I will simply call 1.1.1.1. See that? I'm not supposed to be receiving the blue. Am I supposed to receive the traffic to blue? I'm supposed to be receiving the traffic between green and yellow only. Let's see, probably from the local cache. It could be. Did I modify anything? I'm not sure. Did I modify any virtual servers yesterday? I don't think so. It's 1.1.1.1. It is associated with the pool of what? The Atos web, and the Atos web pool is associated with the members, like that's what we are checking here. What is the member then? Okay, ratio. Let's go for round robin and then update this one. They didn't. I didn't turn on the service. Correct. Thanks for that. No, that was the question actually. The next question will be related to that only. We will see that. Couple of minutes. You can see that the green is coming up, but we are not supposed to be seeing blue, right? According to our understanding. Yellow is coming up, green is coming up, yellow is coming up, green is coming, but not blue. Why blue is not coming? Because we said that minimum 2 servers are there. You don't need to be worrying about adding the backup member. Now, what I'm trying to do here is, let me try to move the yellow web server from the server group. What I'm trying to do is, I'm just moving this all together to a different VM network. So the F5 cannot reach it. Okay. I'm just unplugging the cable, assume like that. Okay, I'm just unplugging the cable of yellow web server, which means F5 couldn't reach yellow web server. Let's see what's going on now. Green, it's trying to send the traffic to yellow, but yellow is not reachable. Am I seeing yellow here? Nope, I'm not seeing yellow. Why? Because the yellow server is not available. But we, sorry? Yes, please. But what happened to blue? Blue should come back, right? When yellow is not available, according to our priority group activation, we're supposed to have minimum of 2 members. One of the member is not available now. Obviously, blue has to come back, right? Blue has to be added for handling the traffic. Correct or not? That's our discussion, right? If the discussion is correct, then we should see the traffic from blue also. You agree or not? That's what the discussion we had here. So obviously we should see the traffic from blue according to our discussion, right? Then why it's not coming up? Let me do one more example here. Okay, let me add this server back. Right, then put it in net1, wait for a few seconds so that it will be connected to the same pool, same network, and then it will start responding for us. Coming up, hello is coming up. Right, now my question is, if I go here and then check it out, there is an option for me to select and force offline. I'm just offlining it. That means what? The server is not available. That's what I'm informing to the LTM. Now let me go back to my member. Let's check it out. Green is coming up, blue is coming now. Can you see that? See, when the LTM box was not aware of whether the LO server is available or not, there was no idea about the availability of LO server to the LTM. By that time, blue was not added as part of it. You understand what I'm trying to say? Now the LO server is added, and then I have given the information to the LTM that it is not available. The moment I pass on the information to the LTM that the LO member is not available, then automatically blue has been added back. Now let's try to enable that server. Let's go and now it has come back. Now let's go here and then check it out. We should not be seeing blue anymore. Can you see that? This is what the question, who asked? Guru, right? If that server comes back, what will happen? Am I right? Who asked that question? Guru, right? Mahesh. Oh, okay. Sorry, I got confused with the voice. Okay. So there is one more thing now. Do I have to manually go and inform the LTM that the LO web server is not available? When the server is not available, do I have to go and inform the LTM that this server is not available so that you can add the other member? Then what is the point in having a backup server? So the LTM should be in a position to understand and identify one of the member or the couple of members are not available. Only then they can do the priority group activation and the blue can be added as part of it. Do you agree for this discussion? So what we have seen is we are trying to understand the priority group activation. By that time, I have added the priority values for each and every member. I also activated the priority group like what? Less than 2. That means that at any point of time, we need to have minimum of 2 members to handle the load. So by the time when I'm checking that there are 2 servers with a priority of 7 and 6, I have added them as part of handling the load. Right? And blue was not added because its priority is lesser. So I need minimum of 2. I just picked yellow and green. So when I try to access the server, I'm getting the response from yellow and green, but I was not getting the response from blue because of this. Then what I have done is I just removed the yellow server from the network and checked it whether the blue server is being added for handling the load or not. It was not because the LTM was not aware of it. Right? Then I have disabled the server, the LO server. Manually, I have gone to the LTM configuration and I have disabled it. Then I started seeing the responses from the blue server because now LTM knows about the unavailability of LO server. Do you agree? This is what we have seen. Okay. Now my point is, if these things needs to be manually configured on the LTM about the unavailability of the server, then the administrator's job is going to be very complicated, and this feature is better not to be having it. So the LTM has to actively probe and check the availability of the members so that it can act according to the availability or unavailability. Am I right? Now that is where the feature called as monitors comes into picture. Don't worry about, there are variety of monitors are available. I'm just trying to explain certain things just to understand what is monitor, and then we can move on to the presentation so that it will be easy for you to correlate the discussions what we are planning to have with the help of presentation. Now let me see this one. Can you see something called as the blue square? This is a blue square, right? So the blue square the status symbol says that if the LTM can go and check the availability of the members or not. That's the point number 1. If you see the blue square, that means what? Can you see that? unknown. That means what? Pool member does not have the service checking enabled. That means the LTM has not been configured to check the availability of those members. You agree? You understand what I'm saying? Even though the LTM is capable of monitoring the availability, but we haven't configured for that. You agree? You understand what I'm saying? Now what I have to do is simple one. I'm just going to be doing it. See, I'm getting into this yellow, and then can you see something called as a health monitor? We will discuss about it. Don't worry. Today's discussion is about that only. I'm simply adding something called as a gateway ICMP. It could be anything, right? Could be anything. We will see what is this and all. And then I'm updating it. Once this has been added, right? Once this has been added, let's go to the pool and check it out. The status of the pool, earlier it was blue square, now it is green circle. What is the status of it? Available. That means the pool is available. How come the pool is, the configuration says that the pool is available? Because at least one member in the pool, I verified that that guy is available. See this one? I have enabled the health monitor under the pool. Can you see that? I have associated something called as what? Gateway ICMP under the pool. Basically, ICMP check is what? We are going to be sending a ICMP echo request. If I'm receiving the echo response, that means what? The server is available. Since this health monitor is associated under the level of pool, all of the members within that pool is going to be inheriting that health monitor. Do you understand what I'm saying? Please let me know if you don't understand, because this is going to be critical for your production level of working with LTM. I'm trying to explain what is health monitor. I'm not talking about what all the health monitors are available and how do we customize it. I'm just trying to explain you the purpose of having a health monitor. So health monitors are used to check the availability of the configured components. Now in this case, because we set the ICMP, as long as I'm receiving the ICMP responses from the members of the pool. How come the members of the pool knows about it? Because the health monitor has been associated under the pool level. The moment you associate a health monitor under the pool level, all of the members, whomever is their part of the pool, will be inheriting the health monitor to it. Do you get it? Okay. Now let me unplug the yellow server from the network. Let's go here and then or else I can also simply disable the NIC card here. See, I'm just disconnecting it. After I disconnect, I'm going back to my PCA. I'm just trying to refresh. Wait for a while. You might be wondering why still I'm not seeing the blue. I'm getting the green. Oh my god. Green. I got blue. But it took little bit of time. I'll come to that later now. Anyway, do you understand that now? Now the LTM knows the availability of each and every server that we have associated as part of the pool. Yellows? Wait. We'll go there. First, we'll understand this. See, now the priority group activation, what happens? It identified that the threshold has been reached. Minimum 2 members we're supposed to have. I'm checking whether do I have a backup member or not. Yes, I have a backup. There was no competition. I just added that member as part of handling the load. Is that clear? Okay. Now you go and check it out. You can see a red diamond under that. Sorry. Can you see that? Which means what? The pool member is not available because I have sent ICMP echo request, but I haven't received anything. So I just need to announce the member is not available. It's as simple as pinging is not receiving any response. You can confirm that the member is not up and running. Do you agree? You got the point? Okay. Now I go back to the connecting it. And then come here and wait for a while. Check it out. It has come back. Now if I go to the client PC, then check it out. I got yellow, I got green, but not blue. Do you understand now why it is the purpose of having this colors over here? You might be wondering during the initial deployment of your web servers and all, and why we have given the color codes for that. Now you can understand that this is the reason behind to differentiate each and every server individually. So, but in production, all of the servers are going to be identical. Okay. So priority group activation is clear. Is that clear? Okay. Now we have seen three different statuses. Sorry, four or three? Three different status, right? One is called as what? Blue square we have seen, correct? And then green circle we have seen. Then we have seen red diamond, right? And we have also seen some black, right? What is that we have done? See, manually if I disable this member, you can see that black. So this black is going to be a little bit different. That means manually, administratively, whether it is going to be a black diamond or black circle, doesn't matter. Of course, you also have something called as a gray. We are not discussing all those things, but still try to understand here. Green, you can confirm that one, the server is up and running based on my health monitor. Blue square, which means what? No health monitor is configured. LTM has no idea about the availability of those members. Then we have seen red diamond, which means what? Health monitor has been configured, but because of the health monitor, LTM announced that the reachability of the server is failed. Then we have also seen black. Black means administratively disabled. You're getting my point, right? This is offline. Sorry. Enable. What happened? Why it is supposed to be? I'm sorry. Disable, you can see that. Can you see this circle? Black circle. Anyway, so understand that black means administratively disabled. Green means it is available. Health monitor has been configured. Because of the health monitor, LTM has confirmed that the server is available. Blue square means what? No health monitor configured. LTM doesn't have any idea about the availability of that member. There is one more thing you need to understand. Yellow triangle is also there, which means what? The health monitor has been configured. The server also confirmed its availability, but certain resources are overutilized. That means you have configured some threshold. The server has reached its threshold. Let me say that you have configured the maximum number of connections the server could handle is 100. Let's assume like that. That's the connection limit. So we set the connection limit as 100 and the server is available, but the number of connections currently the server started handling is 100, which means what? No more connections supposed to be sent. You understand? So we have four major indicators with respect to health monitor. One is green circle, second is blue square, red diamond, yellow triangle. Keep that in mind. Is that clear? Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Oh, now, so how this? See, we have seen that when I have disconnected the yellow server from the network, it took little bit of time to identify whether the member is available or not. You understand? Based on what it is understood, let's see here. What is that? Gateway ICMP. This is the monitors which are available for me. These are all the monitors created by F5 and shared as part of the LTM appliance. Now, can I create on my own? Yes, you can. You have an option to create. We will come to that little later. Now, see here, I'm just choosing the gateway ICMP. See here, what basically happens is, it is an ICMP. Every 5 seconds, it is going to be sending the hello message. This is the interval. Think this as a hello interval. What is the purpose of hello intervals in routing protocols? Now, what is the purpose of it? Why do we have to exchange the hello? Perfect. Okay. Now, how do you confirm that the neighbor is not available? Okay. You have something called as a dead interval, right? Within that dead interval, if I'm not receiving the response from my neighbor, then we can say that there is a problem in the neighborship. right? And that is what here is called as a timeout. Dead interval is called as what? Timeout in F5. Okay, how do we differentiate? Okay, fine. So hello interval, at what interval the hello messages are going to be sent? Dead interval is the interval within which if I'm not hearing a hello from my neighbor, a response from my neighbor, I can confirm that the neighbor is not reachable. Okay, this leads to another discussion, most of interesting question. I know you people would be aware of it. In OSPF, small discussion, okay? I'm not going to be taking more of time, don't worry. So OSPF, we need to have hello and dead interval matching between the neighbors, only then they can be neighbors, correct? Only then they can form the adjacency also. In EIGRP, do we have the condition that the hello interval, dead interval should be matching between the neighbors? Why? See here, let me say this is going to be a point to point, okay? 10 and 40, correct? Hello is 10, dead is 40. Here also it must be matching hello interval and the dead interval. Only then they can be neighbors. In EIGRP, I can say here as hello is 10, dead is 4. No, I'm just giving the custom value, okay? I'm not going with the default one. Here the hello as 20 and dead as 80. Now what is the problem here? Hello interval is the interval at which we are going to be sending and receiving the hello messages. Dead interval is the interval. If I'm not hearing the hello continuously for this period of time, there is a problem in the neighborship. This is what we understand. But the question is, why in OSPF hello and dead interval should match, and in EIGRP it no need to match? You never came across this question anyway, anytime? I know, that's a condition, I agree. But why is that? That's the question. Why you are eating biryani? Because I ordered, I know. Why you ordered biryani? That's my question. I know morning biryani wouldn't be possible, but still. In Chennai, there is a restaurant. I don't know. I think Jayakumar and Prashant might be aware of it. Midnight biryani, they will start cooking by 12 o'clock in the night. How many of Jayakumar and Prashant, you guys aware of it or not? On easier. Okay. Okay. Even in North Madras, there is a biryani shop. They starts opening by 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay, why we have gone for biryani? Forget about it, yeah. Fine. So why this question? So why this neighborship? Why this hello and dead interval should match in OSPF, and why in EIGRP it no need to match? Because in EIGRP, every neighbor is going to be considering each and every neighbor as an independent entity. What I mean to say that when I'm sending the hello, how this hello and dead interval works in EIGRP? Can somebody explain me? How hello and dead interval in OSPF works, and how hello and dead interval in EIGRP works? Is there any difference between these two? Okay. Okay, fine. See, in case of OSPF, when I configure a hello, I'm saying that at every hello interval, I will be sending a hello. I will also be expecting a hello from my neighbor. This is the meaning of hello in OSPF. Okay? When it comes to EIGRP, the hello interval says that this is the interval I will be sending the hello, and this is the interval you can announce me as dead. See, the difference is here. When R1 is sending a hello message, it is also going to be giving the information to R2 that he will be sending a hello every 10 seconds. It doesn't matter at what interval you are going to be sending. In OSPF, when I say hello interval, that interval is the interval I will be sending the hello, and I'll also be expecting hello. In EIGRP, it is not the case. In EIGRP, I'm saying that this is the interval at which I will be sending the hello, and this is the interval. If you are not receiving the hello from me for this period of time, you announce me dead. It's not that I'm announcing you dead. You understand the difference? Now, from R2's perspective, it keeps an entry R1 will send a hello every 10 seconds, and the dead interval is 40. Same way when R2 is replying back, he will say that, okay, I got your information. Your hello is 10 and your dead is 20. So your dead is 40. But for your information, I will be sending the hello every 20 seconds, but you have to announce me dead when you don't hear a hello for continuous 80 seconds. You're getting my point? Is this clear or not? Okay. This is how OSPF hello and EIGRP hello differs. That's the reason even if EIGRP hello timers are not matching, then still they can form the neighbors. Whereas in OSPF, the hello and dead interval needs to match. And why we came here? I don't know. Right. So this interval is the hello interval. Timeout is the dead interval. So hello interval, at what interval the check is going to be initiated, the ping is going to be initiated. This timeout always 3 times of n plus 1. N is equal to hello interval. That is what the typical definition for the interval. Like in OSPF, we say 4 times of hello is the dead interval, right? Here in LTM, what typically happens is the dead interval is going to be defined as what? 3n. N is equal to hello interval plus 1. So, since the hello interval is 5, so the dead interval is going to be 3 into 5, 15 plus 1, 16. So, the total duration is 16 seconds. The dead interval is going to be considered as 16 seconds. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Is that understandable or not? Okay, good enough. Now, if you go and see the monitors, there are a couple of monitors predefined. Can you see that gateway, ICMP, HTTP, HTTPS, all of them? Now, there is one more question coming to me. What is that? Just because you are receiving the ping response, does it mean that the web server is running? See, I'm receiving a ping echo request, or I'm not receiving the echo request. What is the meaning of it? If I'm receiving the response, I can confirm that the destination IP address is live and reachable. If I'm not receiving the echo reply, what I can confirm it, maybe the server is up, probably in between the echo request has been filtered, or the server might be configured with a firewall not to respond for the echo request. Am I right? So, if I'm not receiving the response, the echo request, it doesn't mean that the server is not available. At the same time, if I'm receiving the echo reply, it doesn't mean that the web service is up and running. Probably the node is up and running, but the service could have been crashed. How do you confirm that the web server is running or not? Right? So that's where we take the help of different monitors. See, I'm just getting into the monitor called as what here. And what type of a monitor I'm going to be creating, you can see here. You can see variety of things. TCP, I can go and check to which port number you would like to go and verify it. See, before you work with any of the monitor, please try to explore and understand each and every component which is available over there. Now, if I choose an HTTP monitor, you can see that this HTTP monitor is going to be sending at every 5 second sending interval. What is going to be sent? I'm going to be sending get RN, which basically trying to get the response from the web service. See, there are 3 different things that you need to understand with respect to the monitor. With respect to health monitor, one is called as address check. Address check. The second one is called as service check. The third one is called as content check. Don't forget this one when it comes to health monitor. And also don't think that we have only health monitor. We also have something called as performance monitor. That's a different story. Now, address check is going to be checking the availability of the address. That's it. It is not going to be assuring you that whether the service is running or not. So by checking the service, what basically we are doing is that service is running or not. But we are not confirming whether the content is accessible or not. See, just because you have a web server, does it mean that the website is also running? The website could have been crashed. The content could have been crashed. The IP address could be reachable. The web service could be running, but the content may not be accessible. You understand what I'm saying? So we have different category of health monitors. Like address check will check only the reachability of the IP addresses. Service check only check the availability of the services, and content check is going to be sending some query to the actual content and then see the response. Based on that, it will decide whether the service, whether the content is accessible for LTM or not. If the content is not accessible for the LTM, it is understood that the clients also cannot access the content. So that service or the content or the website is going to be announced as non-available or not available. Am I clear? Is that clear? If you have any queries, please ask me. Okay, good enough. Now address check, we typically use it ICMP. In service check, we can take the help of TCP. Then content check, we can check through the help of your HTTP. Just an example. Don't think that only these are available. So under the TCP, we can also go and send the services like a half open connection. We can do it. We also can go for a full open connection. I'll send a SYN packet. If I'm receiving the ACK, then SYN ACK, then obviously I'll be sending an RST packet to confirm that the service is responding or not. When I say full open, SYN will be sent, SYN ACK will be received, and ACK will be sent to confirm that the connection got established. At the same time, we are also going to be checking the connection is being closed properly or not. Okay, this leads to one more question here. The TCP three-way handshake process, which means what? 3 packets will be exchanged for establishing a connection. Am I right? Am I right or not? 3 packets are going to be exchanged to confirm or to establish a connection. Only then the actual data can be exchanged. Am I right? Okay. Now for connection establishment, 3 packets are being exchanged. For closing the connection, how many packets will be exchanged? Sorry? Okay. Anybody else? Is that correct or you want to argue? Okay. No, I'm closing the connection, not clearing the connection. I'm closing the connection properly. It's like if I say FTP and then I'm saying simply bye. Bye is I'm saying I'm giving the information to the server or the other side stating what? I'm done with all the exchange. I'm just going to be closing the connection. Proper closing. Sorry, 3, yeah? 3 or 1? Fin. 4, okay. No, why 4? Can somebody explain me? Okay, this is for 3 packets to establish a connection. I agree. And then for closing alone, you need 4 packet or only 1 packet? Okay. Okay, then 2. Okay, then 3. I think I have confused you. Okay, so let me say this is a FIN, right? Whomever is trying to close the connection, he is sending a FIN packet for which what will be the response? What will be the response? Wait. Wait. Okay. Then? Okay, so one more packet will come from the server. You are claiming a server on the other end. Don't talk about client and server with respect to FTP. Most of the time it get confused. Anyway, so A is sending a FIN packet, B is sending an ACK. Correct? That till that point I'm clear. How about the third packet? Who will be sending, A or B? Okay, this is one option. I'm hearing one more answer. So this is going to be this side, right? A to B. Anyone else? Okay. Even if you say 3, I could agree. Even if you say 4, I could agree. But the meaning is what? Let me say here. See, when you are working with what is it called, your application layer devices, you have to be very sure about the application's behavior also. When the moment you are working with HTTP, please go through the HTTP protocol's behavior. What is that HTTP 1.0 and what is the differences in HTTP 2.0? What is the changes they have done? 1.2, what changes happened? Please go through that one. So that will give you a better idea. But anyway, now A and B is there. Now A is sending a final packet, okay? That is what the fin is all about. Now what B is going to be doing is, he will simply send an acknowledgement packet and then it will send a final packet. I'll tell you why this is. Then finally A will acknowledge this final packet to close the connection. The beauty here is the acknowledgement packet and final packet both will have the acknowledgement number for the final packet. So in some way people can claim that these two are the same packet but with different information, right? You understand what I'm saying? Okay, now why is this? When A is trying to close the connection all the way from application, presentation, session and transport layer, at transport layer, so the application layer says that we would like to close the connection, A is setting up the final flag and then network, data link and physical, the packet goes all the way to the receiver. Now the receiver processes the packet and down, decapsulation is going to be happening, physical, data link, network and transport layer. He sees that A wanted to close the connection, like by seeing the final packet. Can transport layer take a call to accept or deny? Because A might wanted to close the connection, but B wanted to keep the connection open. We are not sure. A said that I want to close the connection. B also needs to agree, only then the connection can be properly closed. So at transport layer, the server is looking at, or the B is looking at, okay, A wanted to close, but I cannot decide anything. I need to take the permission from my application. If he is willing to close, only then the connection can be properly closed. The point here is, if I am not able to respond to the query, what is it called, final packet, then the sender might be thinking that, okay, the packet might have been closed, might have been lost, so he will keep sending the final packet. So to stop the final packets to be continuously received from A, the moment I see the final, B is sending an acknowledgement stating what, okay, I understand that you want to close the connection, but I cannot decide. I have to talk to my top level management, who's nothing but the application. If he says that I could close the connection, then I can agree. If B wanted to open the connection so that he has some data to exchange, then the connection cannot be closed. So until then, consider that I have received your final packet and please wait for a period of time. Now after talking to the application, now B says that okay, we can close it. Now only the final packet is going to be sent. You can see this as a FINAC. Normally, that's how it will be look like. So final packet is going to be sent by B, and then for which to confirm A is sending what? ACK. So typically 4 packets, but 2 and 3 considered as the same packet with a little bit of different information. So either you say 3 or 4, make sure that you are giving the proper explanation. And understand that 2 and 3 is going to be an acknowledgement and final packet from the responder side. Clear? Okay. Now, so when I say this one get, this is going to be a monitor of HTTP, and you can see that you can also give the receive string, which means what? Receive string means what? If I give the get, right? If I give the get, what is the string that you are expecting from the server? If you are very specific about a specific output from your server, please add it over here. If not, it matches anything. As long as I'm receiving the response, I'm agree for that. There is also one more component here, which is called as receive disable string. When I say receive disable string, if you receive this string, whatever I'm just specifying here, so keep in mind, even though it is a string, you are not supposed to be using POSIX or regex. You are not supposed to be using regex. So it is not going to be a dynamic content. You will be able to use only the static string. If you are receiving so and so string, consider that the server is down. When I say receive disable string, if you receive this string, then announce the server as down. If you say receive string, whatever the string that you're receiving, if you receive the same, then consider that the server is up, the member is up. You understand what I'm saying? And this is nothing but the basic configuration. You can also go and see the advanced configuration, how much set of information you have it. Can you see them? So you have to be very sure about most of the components here so that it will be helpful for you while you are creating or troubleshooting a monitors in your production environment. So try to understand each and every component, but you're not able to understand, just go to the page and click on help. You'll get more of details about it. See here, interval, this is what we have seen. Specifies in seconds the frequency at which the system issue the monitor check when either the resource is down or the status of the resource is unknown. The default is 5. If you would like to modify, you can modify it, right? So timeout or what is the time until up? You can see this one, timeout. This is your what is it called, your dead interval. So specifies the number of seconds the target has in which to respond to the monitor request. The default is 16 seconds. Just read it, you will be able to understand it. So the one what I have explained, this is your hello interval and this is your dead interval. Be sure that proper values are given. Normally the dead interval, the timeout period is going to be what? 3 times of hello interval plus 1. Okay, that's what you have to keep it. And can I modify the send string? Yes, you can modify the the send strings. You can do that one. If you're familiar with different HTTP methods like your post, or you can also simply send the head messages just to see the header responses. You can do whatever you want, but make sure that the service is properly queried. What method you are going to be doing it? I can also go and send the username and password. I can also use the method called as post, and you will try to fill a form and then get the response. If you were able to successfully fill the form, then you can confirm that the service is running and the content is verified. You understand what I'm saying here, guys? Is that understandable? Okay. Now there are a variety of variety of monitors, right? So all you have to do is you just need to explore them one by one and try to understand what basically they are going to be doing it. Okay. Now these are all the predefined templates, right? So if you would like to create, go to the create and you can choose, give a name and then choose what type of monitor that you are planning to create and the settings of that. These are all the templates, right? So whatever the template that you have, if I'm going to be simply going for TCP echo, I can go for it, or TCP half open. Check it out. You can see at what interval we are sending it, right? This is the dead interval. Then it's an advanced section. Other than this, we don't have anything. And if you want to monitor a specific port, you can also go and say, give a name, HTTP TCP connect. Right, so this profile can be used after you do the modifications. So what modifications you have to do according to your expectation? You can go to the virtual server, right? And then you can see I can apply the monitors. Where is that? These are all the profiles. Oh my god. I can configure certain type of monitors over virtual server, certain type of monitors to the pool level, certain type of monitors to the member level. You can do those things. Okay. Is this visible for you all? No, right? Can you guys see these things? Whatever I'm showing? Okay. Right, see, I can go to the node level and then I can also associate the pool membership is there. Where is my pool members, pool, and then I can go to the pool members and then the monitors can be associated to it. So there are a couple of things we can do. One is what? You can associate a monitor, health monitors, can you see them? I can associate. See, this is by default is going to be inheriting from the pool, but if you wanted to be very specific, you can override the inheritance from the pool. I wanted to monitor the HTTP on it. So you also need to remember that when you have multiple members within the pool, the status of the pool is purely dependent on all the pool members. That means what? If none of the pool member is available, only then the pool is not going to be displayed as what? Unavailable. I'll show you this one. See here, I'm just going to the pool here. The member is what? All these members are up and running. Now let me go and disable 2 of them. Now what is the status of the pool? Check it out. The pool is what? Available. Can you see them? The pool is available. Even if I disable the last member, the moment I disable the last member, you can see that, right? You understand? So if any one member is available within the pool, still the pool is being displayed as what? It's available. Right. So enable them. That is what your health monitor with respect to the displaying part. Now I'm just going to my presentation with respect to this health monitor. We'll finish this and then I can take a look. Any questions you guys are having it as of now? Health monitors are very vital for your production environment, yeah. So you must know what is that you wanted to monitor and how to configure or customize the monitors, how to associate the monitors to where it has to be associated, to which level you wanted to associate. Sometimes you will be having the monitors associated to the pool, and sometimes you wanted to override that one by associating them to the members. You can do those things. So monitor functionality, we know what is the purpose of monitor. We know, right? Okay, monitor, exactly. So monitor types, do we know what are all the monitor types available? What categories, ma? Perfect. That is subtypes. But the address check, service check, content check are all part of health monitor. We also have another type of monitor which is called as a performance monitor. I told you that we may not be discussing that one, but there is something called as a performance monitor as well. Understand? So health monitor is a monitor, performance monitor is a different category of monitor. Health monitor helps us to check whether the service is available or not, the content is accessible or not, the node is available or not. Performance monitor is going to be used by the LTM to collect the data. Based on that collected data, it is going to be deciding which of the server could be used for distributing the load, which of the server or which of the member is performing well, and which of the server is overloaded, which of the server is not responding at the frequency what we are expecting. So it purely dependent on the performance of the server, performance of the member. See, there are certain values, there are certain formulas to calculate it. What is the current CPU utilization? For the CPU, you have certain points. For memory, you have certain points. For storage, you have certain set of points, and you could configure the threshold. Once the threshold has been configured, a specific formula is there based on which some values are going to be derived. Based on the value, the LTM can understand that which server is less loaded and which server is better performing, which server is not performing better. So based on that, the LTM device can intelligently forward the traffic to the high performing members than low performing members depending on the requirement. So we have two different types of monitors. One is called as a health monitor and the other one is called as a performance monitor. Health monitor is used to check the health of the members. Performance monitors are used to collect the data with respect to the performance of those members. But with that collected data, LTM is going to be doing some analysis. With the result, LTM can decide which of the device is performing better and the traffic can be forwarded. Load can be given more to that particular member compared to the other members. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right. So now we have customizing a monitor. How do we customize? Associating a monitor to a node member or a pool. Node, member or pool. Status due to the monitor. We have seen a couple of status messages as well. What is that? Blue square, green circle, red diamond and yellow triangle. And we have also seen a black option. Black is basically disabling them. Okay, we had this discussion, right? What if one of my server is down? Do I have any intelligence feeder to the FI to verify it? Yes, it has. What if my application is down in one server? So the server is up and running, but the server is down, but the service is down. The pool members and the nodes, and what will happen to my load balancing? If I do proper monitoring, I can identify that the member is not available, though the load can be distributed to the rest of the members. Okay, it's the same story, right? What I have explained you. Now I will share you this presentation in a PDF format later. Just have a look at it. Okay, now what happens? External clients, they are trying to access, sorry, if any of the pool member or offline, big IP will not send the traffic. For that, FI should know that that member is not available. How the FI can understand the availability of the members? That is where the monitors comes into picture. Now the load is not going to be forwarded to them. See that 1, 2, 3. But again, the fourth will be given to the available members, not to the new members. If FI doesn't have any idea about unavailability of the server, then obviously the request will be forwarded. That's the example I have demonstrated. What we have to do, steps to set up a monitor, I have shown you, right? Create name and type of the monitor, customize according to your need, assign it to the pool or members of the node, then you can verify the status. See, this is what I have explained. Can you see that one? Address check, service check, content check. I didn't talk about this interactive check. Basically, we are going to be sending a couple of commands together, and we are going to be receiving the multiple responses. So address check, service check, content check. That is interactive check. We will be sending multiple commands and receive multiple responses, and we do analysis. So whether the proper communication is going between these two members or not, or the client and the servers or not. That's where the interactive types comes into picture. Address check, basically what happens if I'm going to be sending a hello. If I'm not receiving the hello, then I can confirm that the server is not up and running. Basically, we will be using a ping to verify the availability of the member. Service check, I think I have explained you. You want me to run through once again? You want me to run through? I will run through, not a problem at all. You understand? See, the purpose of repeating this again is to make you understand the criticality of knowing about these things for your production. Okay, can you please tell me what is that service check? We are just going to be checking the service whether it is available or not, right? I asked you, but I answered. Anyway, so basically there are two different things we can do it. One is TCP half open connect check, and the other one is TCP full open connect check. The TCP half open connect check, what will happen? The LTM is going to be sending a SYN. The moment I receive the SYN ACK, the LTM will be sending a reset packet just to clear the connection so that the resources can also be freed up. When it comes to full open, the LTM will try to open up the connection and also properly close the connection just to confirm that the service is properly running out or not, right? Content check, as I said, we are going to be requesting for certain specific information, but keep in mind receive string and receive disable string. See, you remember this one? Under monitor, under HTTP, I've shown you something, receive string and receive disable string. What's the difference? Can somebody explain me this, please? Anybody, please explain me what is receive string and what is receive disable string. Am I audible? Okay, okay. No, I told you, right? Receive string means I'm sending the string. This is the string, I'm sending it to the server. What is the string I'm expecting? That's what the receive string. If that string is received, then I can confirm that the web service is running. The content is accessible. If you see this message, that means what? The server is down. Consider the server is not accessible. Though the reachable of the node is confirmed and the service is running, but the content is not accessible. Then this interval and time, is this clear or not? Receive string and receive disable string. Don't ever forget these two. If you by mistake configure the receive string under receive disable string, what will happen? Hmm? Exactly. Right. So make sure that you are configuring the content, configuring the parameters under the right component. Okay. Then interval and timeout. What is that? Interval is what? Okay. The timeout is what? Perfect. Right. Okay. So we have seen different types of health monitors. They are the default one which is available. Okay, so system provided monitor templates are there. If you wanted to create a new monitor, yes, you can create it. While you're creating it, you need to specify what type of monitor that you're planning to create. According to that, a template is going to be shown to you and you are allowed to customize it, right? In certain places, you are allowed to configure the default values, but don't ever do that one on the system created entries. I'm just talking about the health monitor. There are certain other things also there. So you can customize the monitor settings and you can monitor interval and timeouts. Don't ever forget to configure this. What is the timeout period? Which is recommended timeout period is what? 3 times of hello plus 1. You remember that? I was talking about this. Yes. It's Saturday. I do understand that. But we don't have a choice. We have to go through the content. Okay. So different types of templates are available. All you have to do is choose them, right? So go to the monitors, then create a new one, and then you will be able to create a template. See, monitors, create, then choose the template, then you will be able to customize according to your need. Then finally, what you have to do is the strings, receive string, don't forget this send string, receive string. Now in this output we don't have the receive output string, receive disable string, but we have that one. Okay, username and password. If you have to log in to get the response, you can give the default username. You can have a separate username and password for the monitor purpose alone, right? You can also from which IP addresses, or you can also say which port number we are listening to it. So this is what I was talking about. The timeout value will be what? Normally 3 times of your hello interval plus 1. Don't forget these values and all. Right? So at what interval the hellos are going to happening, and then we are getting the responses. Second check is going on, third check is going on, then finally seeing fourth check as well. See, if you're not receiving the hello until this time period, we can see that the status of the member is going to be in green circle. Once I cross this one, immediately it will move on to what? Red diamond. Now we can see that one. See how we are going to be associating it. You can associate the monitor to a node or a pool member or even to the pools as well. You can do that one. So basically the understanding is what you need to know. Health monitor can be associated at different places, and what type of health monitor needs to be associated over there, and what is the effect of having those health monitors at that level. So that's what you're going to be doing it. See the properties of it. I think that's good for the monitors part. See, there is also one more thing we need to remember. You can have multiple health monitors associated to it, and you also have a condition about availability requirement. See, if I go here, when I'm associating the health monitors, node level will go there and then check it out. Nodes, or we have health monitors here. I'm just associating node specific, right? I can say that gateway ICMP, and I can also go for HTTP. Node here I'm not going to be checking real server IP. HTTP connect, just for an example. Now the availability requirement confirms that when I associate multiple health monitors to a component, what is the condition to announce the member is up or not? So that's where if all the health monitors are running, then I can say that the node is available, or else I can also go and say at least one. I can say that one or two, whatever you want. So you can associate multiple health monitors, and then you can take a call. If I say that 2, that means if 2 health monitors are running upon configured 4 health monitors, I can say that the server is up and running. Don't forget these things. Probably this might be helpful for you. Right, we have seen the status icons. This one is what? Green, red, yellow. So blue is what? Health monitor is not configured. LTM doesn't have any idea about the availability of the member. You can associate the health monitors here. You can associate the health monitors at node level, member level, pool level, and also the virtual server level. Green means what? Up and available. Health monitor is configured. Red diamond, what is that? What is red diamond? Disabled. You have configured a health monitor. The health monitor is saying that the server is not available. So you have to check whether the health monitor what you have configured is properly polling for the information. Then blue is what? Unknown. What is this? Yellow? What is yellow? Yellow triangle. See, it's a threshold. Example is given as connection limit. Don't ever say that connection limit is the only parameter. There are certain threshold to configure. The threshold has reached. Right? So because of that, it is unavailable. So we also seen that one. What is that? If the virtual server shows green, the pool is also should be green. The pool has to be green. Any one of the member should be in green. Which means what? If as long as any one member is available, pool will be in green. As long as the pool is in green, the virtual server will also be in the status of what? Green. One is red. Now what will happen? Do you think the pool will change? Do you think pool will be changed? No. The second is down. Still the pool will be changed? No. How about now? Yes. Now what will happen to the virtual server now? That's it. Right. No, it's not admin down. If pool is down, then automatically virtual server is also down. So if you see the red diamond and the virtual server, all of the members in the pool are down. That's what you need to understand. Okay, that's it. So all you have to do, I will share the PDF of this so that it will be easy for you guys to have the references. Anyway, this is also helpful for you. The video is already recorded.